right, everybody, let us spoil Captain Marvel for you. These guys out there saying, well, when they put that bitch in there, it was already spoiled. Yeah, well, it was a big success, wasn't it? $153 million. Look off. What?
She looks bored. Like she's just having no fun with this.
Yeah.
She should smile more.
Yeah.
Whatever I feel about Captain Marvel, people, they went to see it, came out saying, you know what? It's Black Panther with vagina. You know,
Vagina.
I've had, like I heard white women saying, now I finally know how the Negroes felt with their panther. Solidarity. My fellow females. But
Skrulls are the bad guys.
should we come back and re-examine how we feel about this film? Or do we have certain things that we thought about over the weekend that said, nah, you know what? Fuck it, I feel what?
You were reborn.
I keep having these memories. Some
Money. It's raining down. If you're just tuning in, you're watching this on some other platform. I'm Corey Coleman over here. Of course, you got Martin Thomas.
Right here.
I don't know where this big motherfucker came from. You know? But we didn't kick him out, as you can see.
Nobody does that.
Martin, I was looking, you gonna get him? No, you gonna get him? And then we finally looked over here and said, no, you get him. Christopher Herman. We want to go in and talk about this movie in a very spoilery fashion because there were some things that I know I wanted to say when we were talking about it to back up certain points, and I just couldn't because, well, we would have been spoiling the film. So now that we can talk about it at a time when most people out there, almost damn near all of it, if you saw how much it made at the box office, $153 million. So it's already a financial success.
Yeah.
It's only going to get bigger from here. You know, can we come out and say in what it is that in more detail what made us have our opinions? Again, you know me. I don't just walk to the door talking shit. You know, don't nobody want that. Don't nobody like a guy come to the party who just walked through the door like, fuck all y'all. You want to
call
have
this shit a party?
Yeah. You know, you don't like that dude to just come in and just, fuck your couch, nigga. You want to you want to
Say hello first.
Yeah, get a drink, man, have a good time and then we can talk some shit. But I want to be positive. And I want one of the things that I want to start off on a positive note with this. I think the marketing was amazing for this film. I think the marketing behind this film, what was so amazing about it is that it got both the marketing in this movie. Look, if you don't know anything about Captain Marvel, you're not a fan of the comics, you're a newbie to all this. Of course, you're not going to be able to predict some things in there, but all these nerds were out there. They're like people who read Game of Thrones. They're like, oh, these dumbasses, they don't know what I know. Right. They don't know how bad these Skrulls going to fuck everything up. Oh, just wait and see. And even y'all, when you watch, you're like, what? We were talking about how the Skrulls are, you described them as the Nazis of the universe.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
You see a Skrull, they're bad.
Yeah, you guys elaborate on the Skrulls with this because a lot of people like, wait a minute, they're bad? No, man, they're just people. They're like refugees of the galaxy. They got no place to go, man.
Only in this movie.
Those other dudes, the Kree. The Kree, man. Those the ones that look like me. Yeah, they're the ones that tried to build that wall.
What about the good Skrulls, guys? Come on, find people on both sides.
Yeah.
Honestly, you read enough comics, you realize both of them are fucked.
Yeah,
you don't like either one of those races.
Mm-hmm. The Krees were the ones where, look, if you see the comics, I know anything about the comics, you know that they've traditionally, historically been bad characters, going all the way back to things like the Fantastic Four. What they just looked like nutsacks with ears. Man. They were ugly, and ugly in movies is shorthand for bad guy,
Right.
villain, and that's how they got us with the marketing here. And the other thing with the marketing is that it was great casting. Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
You see Ben Mendelsohn, you know, okay, he's a villain.
Yeah, yeah.
Just wet and slimy.
Yeah, he's
Him and Aiden Gillen and Max von Sydow.
Yeah, like when he went to the makeup chair, the person was like, "Why?" You know?
I mean, I'll spray paint him green. But
Some lines in the chin, maybe.
Yeah.
There you go.
I like the way Bill Mendelssohn's looking at himself. Like, you made me look less villainous. But it was great stunt casting right there to make us think that we were going to get hardcore villains in here, and then we found out that they turned the history around, the canon of this, and made the Kree the bad guys. Again, the stunt casting here was Jude Law, handsome Jude Law. Of course, he's going to be the hero. He's going to have a romance with Captain Marvel.
well, they also went a long way to tricking you into thinking he was going to be the original Captain Marvel.
Yeah, because I had some people like they were people couldn't wait to figure out what was going on. They were emailing me, telling me about what he was going to be, because they're like, well, of course, you're not a comic book person. So here's a little history about what's going to happen with Jude Law. I'm glad they fucked your mind up. Yeah, that's what you get. Trying to tell me something. Oh, you know it all.
Not as smart as you think you are.
Well, you see, Corey, with your ignorant ass. Let me tell you how it's going to
It
be.
almost reminded me of in Iron Man 3 when they had the Mandarin switch and how everybody lost their shit.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that. I think a lot of comic book purists may lose their shit just realizing what the scroll means to the universe, and just looking forward, making up your own movies, thinking where Marvel can go with the scrolls once they introduce them, open up so many different storylines from comic books. But me personally, it didn't bother me, but it did take me aback. And it also in my comic book mind, I was like, wow, they had a good chance to actually use these guys forward for bigger comic book tie-in storylines. But again, they could write themselves out of this as well. But it was just a shock to see, like, well, what the hell is that about?
When you look at the first Avengers movie, and you had the Chitauri. They were basically the Skrulls.
Everybody thought it would be them, but they were just they were just generic hordes. Like they were like a video game horde. You just shoot them to kill them and get them out the way.
Right, but yeah, it was always having the Skrulls as villains them being shapeshifters. It was always that fear of, like, they could be anybody.
Right.
What do we do? But we see this faction of nice Skrulls. They could turn into assholes later.
That's the thing. Like 20 years later, because it takes place in the 90s,
Yeah.
say that they're going to be that way at the end. I really liked the twist. Casting Ben Mendelsohn was kind of perfect in that way, and I really liked his character. In the comics, from a comic book perspective, they've had more good Skrulls recently.
Oh,
in
have they?
a couple of storylines. It's like, okay, maybe they've been kind of building this over time, and that's why they kind of use it there. So that was one of my favorite aspects of the film, actually, was the Skrulls.
I only don't like it when the choice they make is worse than what was in the comics.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I don't want to see a carbon copy of what I already read, because
No.
otherwise I'm just sitting there going through the motions.
And it'll make the future unpredictable. I know a lot of people want to say that, because I think some great stories. I mean, the Skrulls were treated like Mexicans, man.
Oh yeah,
And it might get to
very
a point,
clearly.
yeah, because that was another. They brought in like this, like on the nose political message. Where I was like, okay, we don't need that, but I could see them, like, I think it'd be kind of cool. They have like a militant faction. Yeah, come back. Look, you can treat my daddy like that. I ain't the one.
The Malcolm X.
The Malcolm X of Skrulls out there. I ain't taking no ass whoopings. My daddy was the Martin Luther King of Skrulls. I'm not him. A lot of people, they want to talk about how many characters have been, who has been the longest lasting character in this whole storyline, this 10-year storyline they got going on. And it's the Tesseract, man.
I was just gonna say that.
It's that damn blue cube, man. I like how they have actually brought that in, which opens more possibilities. I read a storyline. I even thought about this myself. I'm not trying to say that oh, I knew that. No, because I don't know how these stories go too well. But I said, you open up some more possibilities, because if you watch the movie, you got Annette Bening, who is the characters are the Kree, but she's like a Kree. She's pretending to be a scientist on Earth. She brought she has a Tesseract to make this this engine, this time or this warp drive hyperspace engine. This thing has gone through and I don't even know if they realize it, but it's gone through the storyline so much, and there so many people have had and they treat that shit like a Rubik's Cube. They've been trying to solve that for so much.
Well, it keeps changing hands.
It keeps changing hands. At one time, the Tesseract was in the, Howard Stark had it.
Yeah.
Will we get a storyline later on where Annette Bening's character worked on Project Pegasus with Howard Stark?
They'll need to explain it.
What's that?
They'll need to explain it because that's a big plot hole in the film.
Yeah, it is. And they need to come in and try to explain that. But it's one that can be easily fixed.
Sure, in another movie.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get Tales of the Tesseract before it came to the Nazis, where it was just floating around.
I would
interacting with other people.
Do you know how badass that would be if it was just like whoever, like people, just different people find it and you get their story?
Yeah.
Yeah, some homeless dude finds it.
Hello, baby. Hello.
he sold it for alcohol. The whole 90s angle, going back in time, great opportunity to see some characters who are even dead pop back up. Because I got to tell you, man, because both of those characters are Korath and Ronan. Ronan the Accuser. And because when you see Jima Hansu, you like, okay, he must have some must have like twisted him later, or some must have pissed him off. Somebody must owe him money or something, because as we know, he turns into a villain in Guardians. Seeing him here, you want to know what his story arc is. It was another twist the movie brought in that, okay, these guys were villains the whole time.
Right.
Jula and his crew, so that made sense. But it was cool seeing that be another added unpredictable element to the story. But also, one person said, you know what? It's also cool to see that Ronan the Accuser is still a bitch. Yeah. even back then, you weren't shit.
He bitched out.
He sure did.
He was second only to the Hulk in Infinity War.
Start that engine.
He's like, I'm gonna get you, bitch.
Don't say this ain't over yet.
Yeah, I think it is.
Get out of here.
Yeah, man. They he ain't nothing changed. Still a hoe. Now we talked about how, because this would be a good segue when you talk about how things were used to flesh out the story and this world that they have. But at the same time, man, Marvel's getting into places now where they kind of like kicking the legs out from under some of the things that they built too.
Absolutely.
I was fortunate enough to talk to one of our editors, James. And James, who loves these movies, was able to go in and do some like deep deconstructing of things and how it made no sense. So one of the big sticking points in this movie is that damn cat. Goose.
I hate that cat.
Sure.
Damn
Goose. Hate that cat.
He hated that cat.
I do.
I'll come back to Goose in a little bit, but see, the thing is, everybody wondered what happened to Sam Jackson's eye.
Oh Lord!
And look, if no one ever said anything or touched on it, I think people still would have thought like, okay, he lost it in some badass way.
Yeah. Right.
But he put some dramatic weight on that story back in Civil War when he was talking to Captain America.
Not a bunch of guys running around shooting guns.
Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
Got in his face.
Like,
Well, he trusted the cat.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, man. You mean to tell me that person was the cat?
yeah.
Because man, because like that eye was a sore point in Civil War. Like Captain America, like, leave my goddamn eye out of this.
It's for dramatic purposes. That scene.
Yeah, it's for dramatic purposes. So if it's for dramatic purposes, it needs to have a dramatic backstory, origin. But it wasn't even if we took the cat, like it was nothing. Like that cat knocked him in his eye for no reason.
It was
Like,
no
what
reason.
happened?
He was cool with him the whole time.
Goose busted him in his eye. Now I will say that Samuel Jackson was up in his face one too many times.
Well, I guess cats are that way.
They really are.
Want
Yeah,
you
they're
to rub them
assholes.
until they don't, and they're like, "Get the fuck off me."
Yeah, because he was up in Goose's face and he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And Goose kept looking at, "Hey man, I'm gonna give you one more fucking time to get in my face with that." Breast stinking and everything, and it was kind of funny because it came out of nowhere. Because that cat like, the fuck away from me. It came out of nowhere, but at the same time, we looked and we thought like, okay, that's gonna be a joke. It's probably for some other reason. But no, by the end of the movie, they gave him a box with glass eyes and said, "All right, choose one." It was like, nah, man. That whole thing with Goose making him lose his eye with the dramatic weight that we had. See, that's. I think I was talking to Carlos last night, and he's like, "Oh yes, it's very tricky." Because I was telling him, I was like, "Man, there's some things in here." And I said, "The eyes one of them." He's like, "Oh no, I know. It's a very tragic thing that happened to Nick Fury." He's like, "I know they get to the backstory in there. I know it was some kind of cosmic war or something. His eye is still on another planet." And I was like, "Okay."
It was good to see. Okay, he was younger. Maybe he was a little more naive about certain things, but it was very out of character for him to the way he was acting, jokey and all that stuff. He was the one of the two mystical magical Negroes for her.
Yeah, and he came across in this not anywhere near the badass we've seen him, hardened badass we've seen him in.
Not at all.
10 years later.
This makes the bond maybe even a little stronger with them, because when Captain Marvel comes back, she's gonna look at Nick Fury and gonna be like, this motherfucker? No, I knew him when he was singing doo-wop to me. he was cracking jokes. Y'all don't know Nick like I know Nick. Nah, quit fucking around, man. No, dressed up in his goddamn goth jacket and shit.
Fun of him now.
Well, consider this. Like at the end of the movie, she flies off into space to help the Skrulls get back home.
Mm-hmm.
But between the 90s and later, doesn't mean she doesn't come back to Earth and they keep having adventures together and doing shit.
Or the thing that makes Nick Fury who he is as we see him today is, man, it's been over 20 years.
Yeah.
Who knows what he went through to make him as hard as he is right now. That might be a great thing for that would be an excellent idea for Disney Plus to do, The Adventures of Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Now that we've seen him be one person, what made him so serious like he is today?
Samuel Jackson ain't gonna do that.
You don't think so?
A miniseries? Just about him?
Yeah.
Like a miniseries, like 8 episodes.
8 episodes, and that's it.
yeah,
I could see that.
okay.
Quick,
All
yeah.
right.
I could see
That's
that.
what Loki's going to be. Tom Hiddleston's not going to come back for a second season of that.
No, hell no.
Yeah, so I can see that.
Now, as far as Goose goes, Goose is I like that character, man. I don't like how they use Goose. It's almost like the way they wrote that character. It was almost like it was for another movie.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
you're
because
right.
I like the whole thing with him being in the movie. Here's a spoiler: he's a thing called a flurkin, I believe is what they call it. He's not a cat. He has tentacles that comes out of his mouth. He can, and for what I read about it, like you see him eat people whole, and they're like, how they or the Tesseract? They're like, how does he fit people into his body like that? And thing is, apparently he's so weird that he has like a dimensional hole like holding his body. I love the thought of this character, but that's a Guardians character.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong in this movie. Again, the only reason why they brought him in here is like, fucking man, how did Jackson lose his eye? Shit, you take it. So I don't know. Nobody
I got
cares
an idea.
Yeah. Oh, the cat got tired of. How did Jackson lose from me, motherfucking that's how. That cat was always sitting down the hall, looking at them, and I thought, okay, this cat is another more sentient type or a smart character.
Yeah.
More intelligent. I didn't know it was actually just a cat with an alien mouth. I thought that because there was a moment where Captain Marvel and Samuel Jackson they're looking at these files, and you see that cat just staring at them. From down the hallway, and I thought, okay, when is this cat going to be revealed to be like a
Skrull?
A Skrull, yeah, exactly.
A shapeshifter of some
but it was
a shapeshifter of some sort.
Of some sort.
A lot of S's. There's a lot of S's, man. Those are the overwhelming.
Now,
Don't worry about it.
Now say it 6 more times quickly. A shit summon the fucking seven. Nah, man, I thought it was going shapeshifter or something. I thought they were going to use that to another twist, and I was like, that's it, just a joke.
Yeah.
And on top of that, just to use it to have another lame ass stinger.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
like if y'all stay,
That's what we knew. I knew it was going to be the cat. At
Me
the
too.
end.
Me too. I left because I was like, there's no reason for me to stick around for the stinger because I know exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I went to the bathroom. I filled out my critique on the page, gave it to the rep, walked back in just to make sure, and I was like, yep, exactly what I knew it was going to be.
Got to come back.
Now, the only redeeming thing that I could say about the whole Samuel Jackson Goose the cat type thing is that I thought it'd be funny, if everybody asked Samuel Jackson, how'd you lose your eye? He's just too embarrassed to tell people, because of somebody I trusted.
So wait, so in Endgame, will Goose just swallow Thanos and that'll be the end of it?
Oh my God.
They better not do that shit.
I bet the cat will attack him. I bet the cat's gonna like get his arm. He's like, "What the hell?" He's screaming.
The only reason why I don't think that'll happen is because I don't think that the director and the writer here,
Russo's won't have stuff like that.
No, the directors here and who are also some of the writers. I just don't. You know, I mean, who's to say? Of course, the fans love it, but I just don't. I don't think the tone was caught well. I don't even like how she got her powers. And I know it's a nitpick right there.
Yeah, no, it's one of those where unless she had some kind of meta gene or something, she should have just died.
Yeah, that should have been explored a little bit more. That she had something that was able to absorb that and actually change her into accepting it. Because her just being there for an explosion. Hey, lucky you!
Yeah. She has no arc. She starts out as a badass who's good at everything, who's super competent, and she just. At the end of the movie, she's just even more badass. Yeah. There's never a moment where you can point even to the weakest Marvel films, like Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 2. Those characters go through something, they change. She really doesn't, and I think that's a big flaw for me.
Well, no, her changing is finding out who she is.
But and that's the other problem I have with it is that the story itself, where she's trying to figure it out, but we already know as the audience who she is, and so it's kind of a boring discovery as we see her on this journey. Yeah. We already know she's Carol Danvers.
Yeah. That's what we talked about last night. It was a case where even the fundamental thing that happens in these origin movies is that the characters try to struggle to figure themselves out. They figure themselves out, but then something drastic happens to them.
Yeah,
that they have to stop and recollect. And then work back up to being where they were, right? She never really had that. It was just her trying to figure it out. Oh shit, I figured it out. There was no time for us as a user, as an audience member, to be down with her.
Yeah,
and it happened so late in the movie too.
Oh yeah,
when she got her powers, it was just like after that it went to a comical climax, playing I'm just a girl.
That again. Another Guardians moment they tried. It's like this is not the movie for it.
Did you see any plot holes at all that probably could not be explained? Now, here's one that if you guys noticed, did you? Coulson early in the movie, I think it may have been Avengers or something. He's like, we're still. What was it? He was like, we're still thinking of the name for the Avengers.
Yeah,
right.
We're still working on it.
They would say the whole.
No, Shield. I'm sorry, Shield. When he talked about Shield, he's like, yeah, we're still working on the name. Yet in this, they are fully established as Shield.
True.
Does that seem inconsistent?
Yeah,
to you guys.
Very.
It's a plot hole.
Yeah. What about you guys? You got any?
One that's coming to my mind is when Nick Fury is like, it was during the first Avengers movie where you're saying like, why when Captain America discovered that S.H.I.E.L.D. was building these weapons based on the Tesseract, these WMDs, and Nick Fury pointed because of him, and he pointed to Thor. You're the reason why we just like, we're not alone in this universe, that there's aliens and gods and deities here. It's like, but 20 years ago,
James mentioned that too.
Good catch.
Yeah, and you met this person and you were part of an intergalactic war that was like right up there. The Skrulls and the Kree. You were just like, I guess he forgot because he had such a nonplussed reaction to it, right?
Right.
That was. I was like, wait a minute. When I first saw the film, so that was very bizarre.
Yeah,
again, I don't think like the directors of Captain Marvel had any meetings with like Kevin Feige or the Russos.
I think that's
Whedon.
Oh, the chat is even saying like Darius says, was S.H.I.E.L.D. established in Agent of Carter? I mean, Agent Carter.
Kinda, because she was working for some. I guess proto Shield. I don't know.
But Iron Man, they made it such a point to say, we're working on that type of thing. We're working on the name.
Were they trying to figure out what the name stood for?
No, because he said the whole acronym. He said it already.
We need to shorten it or something.
Yeah, so that's why they kept calling it the whole name.
Don't get Sammy up here. Tell you one of the things that really stood out. Now we know. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about in a spoiler. A couple of things. When we see Captain Marvel in her stinger, man, to me it didn't seem to fit. When they have the Endgame, the proper stinger, the post credit scene, after the goofiness of what just happened there and how this is positioned to be, the magnitude of the Avengers. When I saw that, I was like, when she popped in, because if you remember the stinger, she pops in, she's like, "Where's Fury?" And I was like, you really don't fit right now to me. At least
everybody's around here. They're sad. They're broken and beaten, and you come in with that.
Well, you didn't think it fit the tone of Captain Marvel, or did it fit the tone of?
I don't think the tone of her character, the goofiness that we saw in that movie, fit the seriousness of Endgame. Even though we know when like Ant-Man comes in and whatnot, he's going to have his moments, but Ant-Man's not supposed to be a character of the magnitude of Captain Marvel,
right?
So I don't know.
But what I do like about it is it kind of speaks to the close relationship she develops with Fury.
Yeah.
Because when she comes in, she's not even concerned about anything else. It's just,
yeah,
what'd y'all do with my man?
Yeah. Where's my black stallion? I mean, where's Fury? The last thing I'll say, and this is brief right here, but I'm gonna bring Sammy in it because he saw the movie and he has his opinions about it. I think it'll be good to add to this discussion. Annette Bening, I thought that was a terrible written character in there, terribly written character because she's supposed to be another high tier villain. And like we said in our review, because she is the artificial intelligence that had kind of
the supreme intelligence.
The supreme intelligence. I know, maybe she's supposed to be kind of, lacking in emotions because she's a computer simulation, but it reflected her character had no personality at all and reflected just how she came in. And like we said, it was a walk-on.
No, wait, do you mean the hologram her? Of the Supreme Intelligence or the actual her as Marvel?
Kind of both, man. Being that she was kind of playing these two different things, I felt like she's really not bringing much to this.
Yeah, it is one of those small roles where they just got somebody for a known actor. She's got that level of actor where if you see her name in something, you go like, oh, well, this must be serious.
Yeah. I just wish they did more with her. Like she has that moment in the end with Captain Marvel, but it just never felt earned to me. And kind of passing on the mantle. And I was like, I thought that was again sloppy, super sloppy.
That was kind of what you figured that seeing that she was Marvel. You figured that she would have imbued her with something.
Right.
And that would have been the catalyst for when she got hit with the Tesseract to imbue her with the power. But nah, run.
They have no relationship. They really have no relationship. And it should be a mentor-mentee relationship. It would work so much better. And don't do that.
Even the flashback, that would have been nice to kind of see.
Yeah, even flashbacks would have been fine. Yeah.
Sam, you're probably the most enthusiastic about the film.
I mean, I'm at low matinee still, but I'm enthusiastic about it in certain ways. I think that even the disparity between 2 years from Wonder Woman, 2 years removed from Wonder Woman, that we need to have it a little bit more overt and in the face of the audiences watching.
Some people just don't get it.
And I think that having a movie that will literally attack and having Brie Larson going out there, quote unquote, attacking white males and being like, I want women, people interviewing me, I want people of color interviewing me. I think that kind of attack worked to the benefit of Marvel, despite everyone thinking, it was a bad decision. I think having fucking Gwen Stefani playing in the background and having it be on the nose as it was almost on purpose to a certain extent. From a film perspective or from an analytical perspective, it doesn't work. But from a kind of cultural perspective, I think it does.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I don't at all. Because I think that you're giving a movie a pass then. It's like when you start playing, if you're that obvious with it, there's other ways to be obvious in a movie. There's other points to be obvious in a movie. If you're playing, I'm just a girl doing your most threatening part of the movie, you turn it into almost a comical message. That's what we're talking about. I think when we're talking about this message.
No, I agree.
You're doing it at the detriment of your movie. Yeah. Now, a lot of people, again, this is where I'm gonna take some hits and say people are giving it a. That's where they're giving it a pass. We're talking about this movie's great. You're applying it for the message more than you're plotting it for a good movie.
I mean, I think the only place it lacked when that scene in particular was the fight choreography and editing. That's about it. But the song choice itself, that's fine. That's a very 90s thing to do, I think.
Everybody's talking about how the female message was what made this movie. I'm going to argue that it wasn't. Females saw it, but the male. We go by what somebody says. The male audience was 55%. Why was it 55? Why was it 55%? Because they were there to see how this ties in to Endgame.
Yeah, and that'll bring me to my probably a last question that I want to get everybody's answer on. Ended up.
What's up?
Just are we all excited to see what happens after Endgame? Yep. For me, I am, but the fervor that I have is waning. I never thought I would say this when we talked about this last night.
Right.
I think I'm feeling fatigued. Well, it's been 10 years, and in 10 years, we've been getting blue balled to a point where I'm a Smurf now because there's been no release. So now we're at the point where we're at this last point. And I had to go to another movie to see another origin movie, right? It wasn't bad, but, it says, okay, I got to see this again. Okay, you're not good. You're good now. Oh, you're the best. Okay, not part of you. Okay, good. All right, what's next? Good, Endgame. If I have to see another a sequel or another type of thing to lead up to Endgame, I don't want to see it. So I've been with this, like I said, for 10 years. Everybody has.
Yeah.
And it was cool because it was the first thing. You want to see it tied together. You want it to work. You want it to work. And now it's going to come in late to it working and doing all it's going to do. Now you're going to tell me, guess what? We're going to do it again in another 10 years. I don't know if I'm ready to hop in on that as fervently as I did these first 10 years.
10 years and 21 movies?
Yeah. I don't know if I could day one all those.
Plus, you got DC doing superhero movies also.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And the more of something you have, the less valuable it is.
Right.
So we reached this point, like a detriment thing to Captain Marvel is that we reached this point where the Russo brothers knock it out the park every time. And then you got what Taika Waititi did with Ragnarok and Ryan Coogler with Black Panther, where they did these things that set these apart. So now that we've had some that have gone beyond and they've built and gotten better and better and done more, when you come back to something that's just okay, you're like, yeah, okay is just not kind of cutting it for me anymore. I'm on this new shit.
I felt the same way about X-Men, where I was like, oh, which one did I see? It was Days of Future Past, and I was like, wow, that was awesome. And then I saw Apocalypse, and I was like, yeah, I'm never doing this ever again. And so now I'm waiting for Marvel for the rights to go over so I can see how they do that correctly.
Right.
Because X-Men started in, was it 2002? 2001,
wow.
when they didn't even know what they could do with these type of franchise, and then they try to retcon it, then they drop the ball with Apocalypse, and then now Dark Phoenix is going to mean nothing. It's going to either explode within itself, or it's going to lead somehow into Infinity War MCU universe, which would be kind of neat if it did, where you could recast everybody. But so I felt that fatigue with X-Men before, but I think if you have the X-Men now in the MCU, that will get me excited all over again.
Right.
You telling me you're going to have a new Wolverine, fucking Gambit, you're going to have Jubilee doing God knows what. I'm excited for that.
And Marvel knows what they're doing. It's like, all right, now after this, you're going to probably see the same thing, but you're going to see it with these new characters in a new light. So that's where your freshness is going to come in. Yeah. So but I get it, man. And it's not even superhero fatigue. For some people, seeing something over and over again will give fatigue.
I guess I hope it's a case where they don't have this carrot and they keep pulling that carrot back, as far as establishing something and being like, okay, there's this big baddie that's going to come and do whatever, but you got to wait another how many years to see him.
Well, let me ask Martin this. Okay. Because that obviously didn't work for you. Because my argument to you was, granted, sir, I meant no disrespect.
Watch your mouth, Cole.
Yeah, exactly. But no, for a lot of people, that was the fun thing, leading up to something bigger and having these movies in between to keep you going. Does that still work for you?
Yeah, it does.
Because it works for me too.
It does. It does. Having something to look forward to, knowing that what you're watching is a part of something bigger. I mean, even the ones that are just kind of but knowing that they build to the bigger story, it's kind of like, all right, well, not every chapter of a book is awesome. Now, the way they're doing these big events, I know the way it works in comics is you'll have a big event that's awesome, and then Marvel especially will go like, oh, but now here's the next event and the next event, and you get event fatigue. You're like, listen, let's tell some good stories.
And that's what I'm concerned about.
That is it, y'all. Talked about Captain Marvel, and then had a little bonus discussion. So this was and Sammy, some great points too. I might not agree with you on everything, but some great points.
Because you hate women, Corey.
Oh yeah, man.
Why do you hate women so much?
I don't know, man. Because they taking everything.
Now they have superheroes.
Damn. Hey, they took titties. they took vaginas, man. How come we can't have nothing, man? Thank you for watching. That's made me so happy. I need nothing else in life, but maybe just one more thing. Can you hit that subscribe button? I'm done with it. Or you know what? Just one more thing. If you love what we do, go check out our main site, doubletoasted.com. Over there, you'll find a longer form version of this video. And also the live streams that we do almost every night of the week. Okay, I'm done. No, one more thing. DTmerch.com. Support us over there. And I promise this is the last thing. Stay toasted.